this is a great story about the genesis of putting the show together. I had actually written sort of an earlier iteration of this show. Some of the ideas were sort of still forming, but at the time I called the show Un-American. I called it Un-American because I was trying to wrestle that label back from the fact that people use that term to denigrate me or people like me. And they do that in a way that they've done to other great Americans, because so many great Americans at one time in their life were regarded to be un-American. Malcolm X, Muhammad Ali, who just of course passed away. Lucille Ball, I Love Lucy, was arrested and prosecuted by the US government during the witch hunt against the communists. Albert Einstein, Noam Chomsky. Some of these people are my idols, and in their lifetime, they went from being at one point hated and dismissed and denigrated and humiliated and mocked and attacked and arrested and prosecuted by the government for being so-called un-American. And yet by the end of their life or sometime after they passed, they became celebrated Americans who are literally on stamps, right? So I found that paradox to be something that is interesting, because maybe sometimes the people we regard to be un-American at point A in time over time are in fact vindicated completely, and what they stood for is actually embraced. So that was the idea behind calling the show Un-American. But the title was problematic because without all this explanation, it can be a very uninviting title, especially when you see a picture like me, a picture of me on the cover. So I was talking to Cat Williams, the stand-up comic, and then I was getting to hang out with him, and I told him about this show I was trying to do called Un-American and the idea behind the show, and he said, man, it was really funny. He goes, you used to be a lawyer, right? And I was like, yeah. He said, I can tell them by the way you talk, so smooth and sophisticated. And I was like, oh, thank you. And he goes, here's the thing, man. He goes, I understand what you're trying to do with that show, but I wouldn't say you are un-American. I would say you are ultra-American. And I was just like, and I realized in that moment, like, my God, he is totally right. And not only did it affect the title of the show and the branding and the ideas of the show, it actually affected my life. Like, it affected my heart, my soul. The way I think about how I relate to being an American is that, he's exactly right. I'm an attorney, and I was born and raised in this country. Every aspect of my cultural preferences, whether it's clothing or food or music, movies, or, all that consumption of content and just artistic taste is utterly American. And so why would I in any way, shape, or form embrace this idea of otherizing myself? And the last thing he said, which really hit me, he goes, don't chase away your money, brother. He said, this is your money. You are ultra-American. You're not un-American. It's very uninviting to go to a show called Un-American. Like, why would I want to self-select people and turn them off from my show by branding it in a controversial way? So for all those reasons, that's why the show is called what it is. The heart of the show hasn't changed. The feeling behind it hasn't changed. And the place that it's coming from, I think, is still a very real and authentic place.